Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm Mike Stansbury. Special guest to me, Chad and Kristina Roy. How are you guys?
Great.
We're doing good.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate being here.
We're excited to have you. At first, we got to pay the bills around here, so let's tell everybody about Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, we're a mastermind that helps real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. So, guys, before we get into what you're doing now and today and all the fun, creative things that you guys have accomplished in real estate, what is the origin story? Tell us, how did you begin in this business? What were you guys doing before you got into real estate? How did you pivot into it?
Yeah, well, great question. And it started about 25 years ago, where we got married 27 years ago, and we were renting a house or renting an apartment for a couple of years after we first got married, and realized that we're just throwing all our hard-earned money up the chimney, as it were, with renting a place. So we started looking for something that we could afford. At that time, we just starting out, we couldn't afford an awful lot, so we were looking for a foreclosure, and we found a mobile home on a 2-acre lot, and they accepted $17,000, and that was the start of our real estate investment. And we renovated the home, and then after that, we started buying apartment buildings. So that's where it started.
Okay, so you went from a mobile home to apartment buildings. You just ramp it up that quick?
Well, we were running a restoration. We worked for insurance companies running biosecurity, biohazard cleanup business. So we had a steady income that built with our purchase of our first property, and then we used the equity of our first property plus our income of our steady job to purchase an apartment building that had in a garage for business development. So that's how we started building our portfolio, and eventually that led to about 70 units and about $30 million of real estate investing over the last 25 years.
Okay, I love it. So let's do this. Let's fast forward 10 years from that first deal, right? What did your business look like 10 year, in year 10 compared to what it looked like now? What were you doing? What was the everyday standard operating procedures? What was y'all's relationship as far as what you were doing in the business, and how has it changed?
Well, at that time, we had, multiple units, and we just kept rolling over our equity into another unit, and we realized quickly that we went from 3 units to 5 units, and that was our main focus on residential apartment buildings, so that we could actually have some income to pay for unseen expenses, because we realized that 3 units was difficult. So we started diversifying our portfolio, and then our business grew, and then we ended up buying more commercial property with larger warehouse spacing, and then a couple restaurants, and we ended up buying a hotel.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So we were managing our day to day. Kristina ran all the financials and took care of the rents, and I did the maintenance. And I had to learn. It was a lot cheaper for us to learn. So 20 years ago, I went to Home Depot. 25 years ago, Home Depot, Lowe's, and we bought books on how to, and that's really made sure that allowed us to save some money doing our own repairs over the years, and then hired the contractors as needed.
That's great. So,
and I think, sorry, I think a big
go
thing
ahead,
after,
Kristina. Yeah.
a big thing after the 10 years was diversifying into commercial, finding that some commercial real estate was a little easier you had a long-term tenant, and so it tended to be a little easier. So I think that was a big change in the 10-year mark.
It's interesting. So all the guys I know, I only have one commercial property, but the guys that I know that pivoted early into commercial, they seem to have a little skip in their step a little bit more than and I got to see it. They have a little less headaches than some of those guys who concentrated on getting lots of rentals and some other assets. And so I'm glad you guys got that early. Now, did I hear in there that did you guys purchase restaurant buildings, or were you buying restaurants as well at this point?
Well, we were going through a lot of auctions, and we purchased a restaurant building, and I knew a couple of restaurateurs, so I kind of put my cart before the horses there, and purchased the property at auction, and looked for a tenant, and we ended up with a long-term tenant, in that commercial restaurant, and then later on, we bought a 22-unit motel with a restaurant attached to it, and at auction as well. So at that, we renovated the motel and opened that as a motel, and we managed that and renovated the restaurant. And we had a 200-seat restaurant and 22 beers on tap. We live music Friday and Saturday night. We were partying a little too hard there, for a real estate investment, because it was a lot of fun, and realized that we had to cut back. So we ended up leasing the restaurant back to my chef, and turned that into an income property, and got out of the restaurant business ourselves, realizing that wasn't a place for us.
We found out it's better to own the real estate, not the business itself.
Yeah, I tell you, because coming out of waiting tables and bartending as a young person, the hours, I enjoyed being a part of the restaurant industry, but one of the things I always noticed, the older guys that were running the restaurants, they didn't look like they were having that good of a time. Because they were being worked over pretty well, because a restaurant somewhere where you got to be there, especially if you own it and you operate it, those franchises too, those people that manage it, they're tethered to it.
Yeah, it's much better income in real estate. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So people all think real estate has just got so many different verticals in there, and your diversification has allowed you to experience a lot of cool things. So what has been, and I'll let you kind of choose your own adventure here, what has been the most creative deal you've ever done? Or maybe tell us about the nightmare deal that you should have never done, because I love our folks to learn from maybe the failures or the oopsies as much as the successes.
And say our failure, or our nightmare, was we bought a house and decided we would possibly move there. So we redid it, thinking that we might live there, but we ended up taking it all the way down to studs. You could literally see completely through the whole entire house. And so once we put it all together, we I don't remember how much we lost, but we didn't make any money on that project.
About $50,000 we lost in that project.
Right.
But like Chris said, we did it. We renovated it. We bought it as a flipper. We liked the location. Then we renovated it. Some marble floors, jacuzzi tubs, stuff that
Right.
you're not going to get the money back. And with that particular property, and that was it. So that was the biggest take. Probably the
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Well,
one of
did
the
you
best.
guys live there? Did you guys live there for any period of time, or did you decide like in the middle of it, like, hey, actually, we're not gonna move into this?
No, we were doing flippers, probably 2 flippers a year, right? And this was just one of the flippers that we liked. It was in the country and the farm, and so yeah, we didn't live there. It looked great, but but we cut our losses and went back to our restaurant and sat at the bar for a minute. Yeah.
That's great. Now, do you guys do just business in your state, or tell me, are you guys in multiple states? How does the acquisitions and where the assets sit?
Mostly in Vermont and New Hampshire. And we had property. We had property in Kansas, and we bought online at auction and property. And done a couple flippers that way. Purchased them online and look for local contractors to go in. But it's a little hard to manage that way. So we like to drive by our properties if we're going to. We kind of switch gears and kind of slowed down. We've sold a lot of our real estate at this point and kept our portfolio to a manageable state where we don't have to stress out an awful lot like we did with a lot of tenants. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. And we mentioned earlier before the show, right, that you're waiting on a tax sale. Has tax sale been one of the acquisition strategies that you guys have used in the past? And tell us a little bit about that.
I think we've only done one other tax sale, I believe.
A couple.
Did we do?
Yeah.
I think.
I'll elaborate a little bit on it. We've done a couple different tax sales. We've done a tax deed sale, which you've probably covered on your podcast before. And whereas those that are just joining us this time is, tax deed sale is the property owner lost it at tax sale to the town, and they have a year to redeem it. And if they don't redeem it in that 12-month period, then that's a tax deed sale. So you possess that deed right there. And so we've done that and got a couple properties, land properties that way. But this one was a tax lien sale, so we had to wait that 12-month period. So the way that works, where in this case we bought 4 properties for $36,000 total. 3 of them were houses, and one was a 5-acre lot. So you can and one of the houses is lived in, and the other 2 houses are habitable, just not lived in. So you can see the profit margin that could be there, and so it's a risk because you're tying up that $36,000 for that 12-month period. But the way that the tax lien sale works is that we get a return of 1% per month interest on that $36,000, so that accrues. So $36,000, or I forget what is it, $37,000, say. Then at the end of that 12-month period, we'll get to $37,000 plus another $3,700 in interest, a little more actually, because it's based on 12%. So it'd be about a little over $4,000 interest on, so a little over 10% return, 12% return on your money for that being tied up that time. So that's what's happening today with us, and we'll see whether we get it'll be equivalent of about $300,000 worth of property for $37,000 or an additional $4,000 bonus check.
That's such a terrible, terrible return on investment. So bad. So
Well,
bad. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love to hear those wins. And so that's the thing about that. And so if you could speak to the tax sale, I mean, you said you've done a couple of them. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? You want to, obviously there are deals out there, and then there's some lemons as well. You just got to make sure that the value that you're buying, you knew when you were going to make that $37,000 investment that at worst case scenario, you were looking at $300,000 worth of assets coming in, correct?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
That's correct. And what we've learned over the years, we've gone to a number of them, not that we've bought all of them. And tips for the trade is in your local area, call your local counties and ask them if they have tax sales coming up. And they'll tell you whether they, and then ask them specifically whether it's a tax lien sale or it's a tax deed sale coming up. Because then you'll be able to weed out, if you find a bunch of tax deed sales, you know you could go to the auction and potentially win a property for $2,000 free and clear that day. So I would start with that. And then once you find out, they usually have a list of the properties that are going up for auction, and you'll have to recap it about a week before. But doing your due diligence a month before, get the address of those properties that you're interested in, drive by, take a walk around, choose which ones, go to the auction, and then aim accordingly.
Aim accordingly. Fire away when it makes sense, right? With that being said, so you guys, what would be in the last 25 years, even in real estate, what's been the best way you've acquired property, or like maybe not an easy way, maybe something that you kind of developed over time that has worked for you, so to acquire properties that are undervalued, or maybe there's a value add there?
Well, it's complicated. We had a number of properties over the years, and there's a few processes that worked. One, obviously, the one that we just mentioned. Another one that was our restoration company that we worked for insurance companies, and if you happen to be in that field, you have the opportunity to acquire properties that the homeowner wants to take the insurance check and just take it a loss and sell you the property as it sits. And so we were in a position where we had about 17 employees and some carpenters on staff. So as we went in, then if the homeowner or the business opted to take the insurance check, and then we told them that we would be interested in acquiring the property as is. And then that would keep our crews busy. If you're in the construction industry during our slow periods, then we knew that we were still going to make money from flipping the property and keep our construction guys busy. We're in northern Vermont, New Hampshire, so our seasons, are you need to be, flexible as far as what you do for work. It's not in the city where our carpenters were busy 24/7, 365 days a year. But having these properties that we acquired that way, we were assured that we were still making payroll and we were going to make payroll.
I love this strategy. So locally here, there are some restoration companies, I'm good buddies with them, and they don't know the skill set of flipping houses because they just concentrate on what they do. So they refer me the business when they get somebody that is saying, hey, I may want to just walk away from this. And I've gotten a couple of good deals from that. So I love that you guys latched on to what you were already doing with the restoration company. And so many blue collar businesses, they see leads before an investor will see them, but they just don't know what to do with them. They haven't been unlocked. And so if you're listening now and you got a blue collar business, I would say that flipping properties is a skill set. And once you learn the skill set, you can utilize it. It's easy once you know the skill set, but it takes some learning about obviously buying it right. And then especially you guys had a really advantage of seeing the property, but also you knew the labor, and so you were able to maximize probably value from your labor as well.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Being an opportunist, and no matter what industry you're in, and even if you're not in an industry, you can go to a real estate office and ask them if they have any properties that are coming up that are interested. And that's how we acquired this property that we're sitting on right now, actually. And it's literally a gold mine. And
give me the story. Don't bury the lead there. Tell me about the
It,
origin story of the property you have now, and what have you guys been doing before this podcast?
yes, well, yeah, so yes, digging. We just got out of the river. We were diving for gold. Chris tends the box and makes sure that I still have air underwater, so she keeps me alive. So yeah, and
Oh my goodness.
we're
When
yeah, it's
is the
great.
YouTube channel? When are you going to post the YouTube channel of this? This is
We're
hilarious.
actually we
This
were
is great.
shooting for. I can't go into details, but we were shooting for a reality show. And
All
we
right, here we
hooked up
go.
with an Alaska company, and we're gonna be uh, doing some work with them and some very advanced gold recovery equipment. So it's going to be pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. But so going back to the how we acquired this property is we uh, did some research because we were interested in prospecting in geological items when we got married and we started researching our area and so we got a gold pan and researched Dartmouth and Hitchcock. You might have heard of Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center, maybe. And so they were geologists as well and scientists. So they went up the northern New Hampshire and Vermont. So we started reading their articles from the 1800s. And I always ate Lucky Charms as a kid, and I always chased the rainbow, probably like everyone else that ate Lucky Charms, and looking for that pot of gold. So we were about 30 miles away from our hometown, and we found this river. We actually had some gold in it. So, this is 20 years ago, mind you. And so 20 years ago, and this is where the opportunity comes in is we stopped at a realtor and I asked them. I said, if any land ever comes up for sale along this river, please let us know. So so they gave us I got a phone call in January, and she said that she had some land. Her friend selling some land. Now, mind you, the realist, she was an older lady. She's 80 years old, and she said that her friend wants to sell some land on that river that I was inquiring about. And she said it was 7 acres of land along the river. And I said, well, why does she want to sell it? She goes, well, she lives on the Cape, and she's afraid that somebody's going to sue her because they're mining gold on the property. And so I said, wow. I said, how much does she want for it? And well, she wants $25,000 for it. So I said, okay, we'll be right over. And so and that was the story of how we acquired this 7 acre gold mine. And it's literally every handful of dirt on here. It's on the backside of Mount Washington, volcanic activity, lots of gold, and we've been mining here ever since. So that's one of the best stories that we have. We're next to a campground. We were offered $250,000 for it a few years ago. Not interested in selling it because we could never replace it. And so yeah, it's one of our best properties, a little retreat. And
Okay, and you can keep us on a need to know basis, but what is some of the value like of the gold that you have mined personally on that on the river?
um, in the tens of thousands,
Yeah,
on
I
this.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love it.
ounces of gold. We Chad Roy, New Hampshire Gold Rush. I did a YouTube video out there a long time ago. I'm not a YouTuber, a TikToker, Chad, but not a YouTuber, and Lemonator.
That's right. Okay.
That's it.
Um, Awesome. Well, this is a fantastic story. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to kind of give us an idea of the origin story of that house. To finish up here, like what are we doing today in real estate and investments besides obviously panning for gold? What is your daily life look like today in the world of real estate business and investing?
No, we're just maintaining what we have. We have a couple commercial properties. A couple leased to a couple restaurants still, a garage and a warehouse, and a couple residentials, a couple Airbnbs. So yeah, our main business is that's our real estate. It's kind of maintaining itself. It's a lot of it's paid off over the years, so it's an income source for us at this point, and an equity source, and it allows us to run our other business. We're in biosecurity and food security businesses, so that's our main line of work that still helps us to pay for any investments that we might want to endeavor on.
Awesome. So you guys kept a full-time W-2, or were these businesses that you guys also ran and operated?
Ran and operated, yeah, own,
Awesome.
our biosecurity we're consultants, and that we 2020 we changed the global understanding of virus transmission by making it visible, and then we were peer reviewed by Cardiff and Cambridge universities who use our insight, and then the U.S. Air Force hooked up with this biosecurity center, and they use our understanding of virus transmission, and their training. They introduced us to invisible biological force fields, which we work with, which are pretty cool. They physically send out little charge fighter jets and zap any biologicals as soon as they come out of the other person's mouth. This is what the military has developed. Cool, fascinating stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then,
that's wild.
yeah. And then food security, all that stuff led us real quick to provide the world's most nutrient dense fertilizer, organic fertilizer for crops. Our business partner is a soil scientist in Australia, Sean O'Brien, and he's developed the 85 mineral blend that feeds the microbes, that feeds the crop. So we're working with trials with multiple universities now, including the military food security, on providing the world's most nutrient dense food, so that we can start making people healthy again.
Yeah, I love it. So you're in the agriculture business, real estate business, gold mining business. It's a fascinating podcast, guys. Chad, Kristina, thank you for being on the Real Estate Pros podcast. We'll put in the show notes below the information about what they're doing below and how to get in touch with them, the TikTok link. And yes, thank you guys for being part of the Real Estate Podcast. Folks, do all the things, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Mike Stansbury. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.